going to leave 2A until after we've done our big unit circle activity on everything that we're going to have to do without our calculator. But 2B would be a calculator question. Now, first of all, on our calculator, we notice that we take out our calculator. We have no cotangent button on our calculator. I go to my calculator. I have sine, I have cos, I have tangent. I have sine inverse, I have cos inverse, and I have tan inverse, but I don't have cosecant, secant, or cotangent. So I'd like you to take out your calculator, and we know from our reciprocals that cotangent is the reciprocal or the flip of tangent. So I would like you to do a little bit of problem solving. If you know this, type something into your calculator and get a decimal for this. Right? You're on a test. You're like, okay, I have to do this question that's a little bit different. What would you do? You know that piece of information. You want to find cotangent 12 pi over 5. You know that they're reciprocals. That cotangent of theta is 1 over tangent of theta. So type something into your calculator. And we're going to see if you come up with the same answer that I do. If you come up with a different answer, what you're finding out is your brain is problem solving in the wrong direction. And that's very easy to do in math. It's very easy to mix up things. So we want to try something, because if you do make that mistake, you want to know if you're making that mistake so you can correct it right away. Yes, there's a couple things that could go wrong. Okay, I'm going to just type up the answer here, so you can see it first if you were able to get it right, and then we'll talk about possible things that went wrong. .325 is 3 decimal places, and I read the question. It was actually 3.249, so rounded to the nearest tenth would be 0.32. Did you get that value on your calculator? Mistake number 1. This angle is in radians. There is no degree sign there. Mistake number 1 on our calculators is that we do not have our calculator set in radians. So we need to know how to, right, on my calculator up here, I see that it says radians. We need to know how to change. So under your mode button, if degrees is highlighted, move it over to radians and push enter. And then you can go second quit, and your calculator will be in radians. So if your calculator was in degrees, that's a first mistake that could happen. Second mistake that could happen, the answer is, if we look, cotangent of theta is 1 over tangent of theta. So the right way to do this is, I can get a fraction, and I can write 1 over, and I can write tan, put the fraction button in again if I want, of 12 pi divided by 5. Oops. So notice the angle doesn't change. And I get 1 over tan of that angle. I push enter, and I get the 0.3249. That is the correct way to do it because this is the connection between cotangent and tangent. And we notice that the angle theta stays the same. This is going to be a key thing that sometimes you're going to mess up. Sometimes you're going to forget and you're going to change the angle, especially when it's a fraction. Because when we do reciprocals of trig functions, and we've done this already, like for example, in a previous example, we might have found out that tan of theta was 3 over 4, and then cotangent of theta is the reciprocal and the fraction flips. So it's really easy to mix up two ideas here. Notice though, the angle stays the same. So angles always stay the same. If you have the ratio flips. So if I have tan of theta is 3/4, then cotangent of theta is 4 over 3. A mistake that often happens here, and I'll just write it out the right way to do it. This would have been the right way to do it. But the number one mistake I see students do is they don't do 1 over tan, and instead they write this. And this is the thing you have to realize about multiple choice questions in math. This is a very typical multiple choice question. When it's a multiple choice question, obviously the right answer is there. But then all of the other answers that show up in a multiple choice question in math, they think about all the common mistakes that students make. So they put their calculator in degrees and see what answer comes out, and they put that down. And they're like, what happens if I flip this? They put this answer down in degrees and in radians. And those are the 3 distractors in the multiple choice. So you have to be careful because you sort of sometimes get a sense of confidence for multiple choice. You do something, your answer appears. You're like, yes, I got it. Be careful. Because the most common mistakes, the answers of those ones will be there in the multiple choice. And if you just see your answer right away and you haven't thought about it and made sure you've done all the steps correctly, you're going to circle the wrong one. So it's very easy to think you're doing well on multiple choice, but all the common mistakes are put there on purpose to see if you're making those common mistakes. So be careful that way on multiple choice. For this one, I'd like you to circle 6 and 11.